If the ethical theory of just war is not exercised, there will be no moral cause or justification for the actions of those involved. There must be some chance of success in fighting whatever greater evil is being faced, and the will of the people must be represented. Without these clear guidelines, there is no way to ensure people will do what is morally right or to ensure the safety of innocent citizens.
Oh no, how could they do this?
These horrifying scenes can easily be avoided if the right approach is taken. Do you want to see those around you, innocent family and friends, be murdered like the two here? War can be the right thing to do, but it must be handled carefully. Moral limits and restrictions must be put out onto our actions, and we shall enter with the right intentions. This is the only solution. Entering with anger and the want of revenge will not solve any problems. It will only lead to more killing, more destruction, more violence. Just war can be the only answer. And another situation would have occurred if just war was exercised.
Okay, so far on the program we've had some very good discussions amongst our advocates. But now I'm going to ask them each a question. And it's going to be the same question for each of them, and I just want their answer. Okay, we'll start with Connor. If we were to go to war right now, if you walked out that door, picked up a gun, and was flown off to Afghanistan, would you fight?
Well, it really depends. If I felt that God was giving me signs or like he was calling me to go to war, and I felt that that was what he wanted me to do, then I would. But God has a different plan for everybody. So some people, he might think that they should go to war. Some people, he might think that they should do something else. So it really depends on a personal situation if I felt that I was being called.
Okay, it's a good point, but right now, would you go?
I'm really not sure. It would really depend.
Okay. Istiak, right now, if we were to go to war, would you fight?
Where are we going to war?
Walk out the door, get on a plane, and are flown to Afghanistan.
Afghanistan. What would we gain by fighting Afghanistan?
I don't know.
Depends on what we gain. If it's for the good of the country and we gain something, then yes, I would go. But if it's just to cause a war, then no.
Okay, we'll leave that one alone. Michaela, would you go fight right now if we were to go to war?
Only as long as myself and those around me were fighting for a just cause, and that we entered with the right intentions while drawing our weapons. I also would need the encouragement of my sovereign authority when drawing my weapons. And I would need to fight through the fear and terror, as would those around me, and Winston Churchill supported going to war as a duty of our people, as long as we fight for victory, and there must be a reasonable chance of success.
C. And Mary, I'm pretty sure we all know your answer, but I'm going to ask anyways. Would you go to war right now?
No, there's better ways to figure out a problem. We've been fighting wars for a very long time, and it's shown us that wars just don't work. If we're still fighting, then why do we keep repeating the same mistake over and over again when we could be trying to figure it out peacefully?
Okay. Again, I'm going to ask you each to discuss amongst yourselves your answers, or talk about anybody else's answers.
So wars have got us nowhere. You think wars have got us nowhere? World War II. Hitler killed over 6 million Jews. So we went in and we stopped him. That didn't do anything. Stopping a guy who was killing 6 million people because of their religion. That's not an achievement at all to you? I just don't think
that we stopped him, but we could have figured out the problem. Like, I don't understand why we haven't figured out why wars, if we keep on fighting wars, why do they keep happening? Like, why do we keep on leading ourselves to violence?
Because this world is corrupt, and it's not necessarily us who are causing the wars. It's the other, it's the other evil in the world that's doing bad things, so we have to stop it. Peace doesn't always stop it. If we try to stop Hitler with peace. Do you really think Hitler would listen to, please stop, you're being mean? Like, it's not going to do anything. You have to, sometimes you really have to use violence to fight violence, because they just aren't listening to peace.
This is not to support pacifism, but what if this greater evil, or you're using Hitler as an example, what if his God, or whoever is the opposite force, their God believed that fighting you was the right thing to do, and that you were their greater evil to fight and defeat?
Well, then it's just believing in your own religion, and also there aren't, if you look in the actual books of religion, no religion is like telling people to just attack people for no reason, or because
So
they
why
don't
is that
believe
your
in the same thing.
justification? Why is your religion your justification if it's not telling you to attack people?
No, it's not telling you to attack people for no reason, but what it is telling you is that sometimes you do have to go to war to stop the corruptness in the world.
Okay, let's say you do go to war for a holy cause.
That's-
Right? Let's say a Christian state attacks a Jewish state, okay?
Okay.
And the Christian state wins.
Alright.
And the Christian state takes over the Jewish state. What's going to be the result? What's going to happen to the innocent Jewish people who had nothing to do with the war?
Well,
Would the Christian state force the Jews to convert?
Okay.
I
I'm
don't.
going to give Connor a chance to answer this last question. And then I'm going to give you all a quick reminder to be thinking of questions. And then we're going to take a break. But Connor's statement.
The
Alright.
United States, will you help us rebel against our leader? Do you have anything that can be of use to us? I don't think so. No.
Could USA can help me.
Do you have anything that I can use?
We have oil.
Yeah, I'll help you.
Solid.
The United States was more eager to help Libya because they had more to gain, and thus went to war against Gaddafi, which was the Libyan dictator.
What, can you repeat your question?
If a Christian state attacks a Jewish state, and the Christian state wins, what happens to the Jewish people?
Okay. Alright. So I don't think it's not right to force people to convert, because then they don't really believe in this religion. They're just being forced. I think that people need to convert on a religion on their own. And honestly, I would not force people to convert. Just like now in the United States, we allow any religion. So if we attacked, and I think that's the way it should be. So if we attacked a Jewish state, then their citizens could just practice whatever religion that they felt they wanted to.
Okay, we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. And I hope you've all been thinking of questions, because now is the part of the show that I'm going to call on you to ask them. So does anybody have a question for our lovely advocates? Josh, sorry.
Okay, well, I have a question for Mary, which is, what if you're being attacked by a force that doesn't really have a reason to attack you? It's not for money or for land, it's just for the sport of it. How are you supposed to reason with that?
Well, we'd ask them why they were trying to attack us, and we would defend our borders, but we wouldn't let them fight us any longer. We'd just keep them out. And
What does defending your borders mean? Does that include fighting to defend?
And you're gonna ask them why they're attacking you,
They have no reason to
Yeah,
attack you.
they're
as Josh
not-
clearly stated.
and they're grown people. They're not like kindergarteners. They're not gonna be like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, if they're gonna attack you, they're gonna attack you. They're not just gonna stop because you ask them politely. I think you're underestimating the evil forces of the world.
Okay, Connor, that's a very good point, and it was a very good question for Mary. Does anybody else have a question? Cedric.
Connor, how do you get a message from God that tells you have to fight?
Well, it's kind of personal. If you feel that you've had some sign in your life, or you feel like God's calling you, or if you pray about it and you feel like your prayers are answered, then you know. It's kind of the type of thing where you just know.
Connor, what if somebody said that God told them to fight, but they just made it up, and they said it was a holy war, and God really didn't tell them to do anything?
Well, that happens in a lot of cases. For example, if you look at the terrorists for 9/11, they claim it's from their religion, but in Islam, they don't say anything about like attacking other countries because they don't follow your religion. And
Hey, Connor, that was a very good comment.
Wait, but does it say in any of religious books to fight other people? That's okay? Doesn't it say you
there's a
should kill
difference
other
between
people?
there's a difference between fighting other people because they're doing something horrible and to save more. Like for Hitler example again, by getting rid of him, stopping him, we prevented a lot of innocent lives from being killed.
Okay,
So
it was very popular amongst you four. Anybody else have a question? Will.
So Connor, if the leader of a strong country has a lot of influence over his people, and he tells all of them that he got a message from God that they need to take over all the other countries, you're saying that that's justified?
no, I'm not saying that's justified. I'm saying the only reason you should go to war is if you feel you are called. That doesn't mean that if someone just claims that they're called, that they really are called.
But they're the leader of the country, and they told everybody they were called by God.
Well,
That opens it up into interpretation
yeah,
by the people of
it's
religion.
really
But
the
how do
interpretation.
how do you determine if it's open to so much interpretation and by whoever, depending on the person? How do you decide which one's just? Do you think that people who also believe in holy war as you do have different thoughts as you?
Well, yes, because everybody kind of has a different spin on their religion. So that is a tough thing to figure out if people are interpreting things correctly.
How do you determine what's correct and what's not?
Well, you have to use your best instincts and just really know your religion and get in touch with your God.
Okay. Any other questions? And I think we'll take maybe 2 more and then we'll break. Anybody else have a question? I think Nick has a question. What was it about? Okay, Carolyn has a question.
Well, Connor, you keep on referencing Hitler, but how can you accuse him of religious discrimination when most holy wars, their objective is to convert other people?
Well, see, Hitler wasn't going at it at the right way. If you're trying to convert people, converting people isn't killing them. So there's a big difference between that. So if you go to a country and you have to get rid of the big dictators sometimes because they just have so much propaganda over the people. But the people themselves, they need to be converted. They can't just be killed like Hitler did.
I thought you didn't justify.
What?
I thought you didn't justify.
Okay. Now, I feel like this is going to turn into a larger discussion. So we're going to take one more question and then we'll break. Anybody else have a question? All right, I don't think anybody else has a question, so we'll be right back after this short message.